Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you're well. Welcome to episode 118 of Cross Button VR, our journey into the world of VR. I'm your host, Reese, and it's an honor to be joined by AndresPlays. Welcome
Hello.
in. Again, another person I've been... Well, I say I've been. You got told you could come in here a long time ago. It never happened. Yeah. Is anybody else seeing a trend with this at this point?
Yeah, I had a podcast last year and I invited Laurie and we hit it off and he said that was I think in July or August of last year. So it's already going to be
worse than gamer tag. That is.
And then he said, "Yeah, we'll have you on. You get along with Reese and all of that." And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to be there." And then, I was just waiting for the call, but here we are. Is what matters.
Yeah. I'm usually pretty good at getting people on, but life has been busy. But no, at the moment, the way it is with just people coming on, this has been really fun to do because it's changes it up every week, something different every week for somebody to listen to. So yeah, that's good. Also, if I do look very shiny, it's not because I've sprayed myself with some chrome paint. It is currently 27 degrees in the UK. It was 30 odd earlier on, and now I'm sitting in this room with a small window open, and it's like a sauna in here. And if you also hear anything in the background, usually it doesn't pick it up, but you may hear a fan noise. Last week it turned out it was my PC, so if you do hear that, apologies. Hopefully you won't have to deal with that much longer. We'll be trying to remedy that. But anyways, let's go straight into the episode. We'll go through the whole stuff first, and then we'll just dive in. Because I've got a few questions for you, Andres. Again,
Absolutely.
Same questions I ask everyone. Because I like doing it. They're good fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, if you'd like to support us, please give this podcast a sub on the service you're using. If you're watching us on YouTube, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. And why not leave us a comment too? You can find us on Twitter and Blue Sky at CrossButtonVR, and now also on Ko-fi, which is KO-FI, where you can buy us a coffee, but not really. But yeah, you can support us there, and it basically keeps the service running that we use to record the podcast. So yeah, if you want to do that, a big shout out to Golu and Phil, who are our monthly members. There we go, got it there in the end. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it a lot. But yeah, so let's dive straight in.
Hell yeah.
First off, tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, what you do. Let everyone,
Yeah.
I know what you do, but everyone else knows.
Of course. I mean, first of all, congratulations on all of the guests that you have had. They are people that I follow myself, Gamertag VR. Sorry, Gamertag VR, Without Parole, great people overall, and I love that. They've been a part of this now, and seeing a cross button grow. As I said, I had already talked with Laurie before, so I don't know. Seeing you guys stick with it, and you said 118 episodes, man. That's commendable.
Yeah, that's probably why Alex and Laurie jumped ship. It's been going that long. They're like, nah, definitely need a break. I'm going to take a few months break. Don't leave me. I don't know if I can do this, guys. Turns out it's going fine. So. Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. I got the best co-host. It's fine. Anyway, about myself. So yes, I'm AndresPlays. I'm a games writer, content creator, and streamer on Twitch. I started writing in 2023 for this outlet called GamesCreed. I only wrote for indie and AAA games. About indie and AAA games, and then in December of 2023, nobody gifted me anything for Christmas. So I got my credit card and I said I'll just get the PSVR 2 because I wanted something different, something new, something outside of the box. And of course, the rest is history. I ended up loving it. Of course, Horizon Call of the Mountain, my first experience. The visual fidelity. Of course, I am a fan of Horizon as a series, so seeing Aloy using the bow. I'm still trying to get the platinum, but there are some challenges that I don't think I am as physically fit as I should be to get them. But I'm working.
Climbing challenges by any chance? Are they winding you a little bit?
Yeah, I have to take breaks every now and then. But yeah, so I just like a kid with a new toy. I asked my editor back then in that outlet that I was working for if I could, write a review for Horizon Call of the Mountain. And then I got in touch with Something Random, the studio from Toy
Yep.
Trains, a game
Toy
that I
Trains,
very much love.
Harpagon.
Harpagon, now their most recent game, and Ruins Magus and the Twilight Zone VR. Those are games that I reviewed for my outlet. So, slowly but surely, I started becoming a little bit of a VR games writer inadvertently, right? But like my passion just like shone through. Eventually, getting to work with Upload VR. I'm a freelancer for Upload VR. You know
Yep.
them, and I'm very proud to work with them. And yeah, this year I started, my YouTube channel and streaming on Twitch as well, covering all sorts of videos. My latest video is the Le Chiffre mission on Hitman World of Assassination, which was absolutely mind blowing.
Le Jefe.
seeing seeing Mads Mikkelsen,
I know,
face
right?
to
That's
face, his voice. I'm like, I mean, mind blowing that movie that I watched and rewatched in 2006. 20 years later to like see the character be in a poker table with them, like that's the goddamn magic of VR. That's one of the reasons I wanted to be here, to gush over VR. So yeah, that's basically me.
Fair play. I mean, you kind of went straight into how you got into VR. I mean, nobody got you a gift one Christmas. Well, sorry to hear that, but not sorry, because you got into VR. I mean, we probably would have never communicated if you hadn't started playing VR, because at that point, I mean, my Twitter was pretty much only VR people circulating on my feed. So anyone that didn't talk about VR was never showing up, really. It was like VR, PlayStation, and yeah, I think that was pretty much it. Oh, and Dexter, which still comes up, which is the greatest, circulation and cycle of stuff I can get on my feed is VR and Dexter, which comes back in July for anyone else is wondering. But anyways, enough about that, because I could probably make a whole podcast just about that show, and I'm not going to do that because my time is already zapped. But anyways, what excites you the most about the medium then?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry. Of course I listened to the show, and that was one of the questions that was gonna come up, right? Like how I got first into VR. I listened to your episode with GamerTech VR about how you loved Resident Evil 7. I also had an experience with that game. I went to one of these places where you can like rent a room and get on the headset. So it was a Sunday. I was with a friend of mine. That was my first impression with VR, by the way, with Resident Evil 7. So, my friend was hungover, so he got on the
hungover and getting on VR. That's
yeah,
the idiotic.
Yeah, the headset. He put on the headset first for about 5 minutes, of course, and then he got it off quickly because he was getting dizzy, of course. And then I played for about 20 minutes, and there's this sequence right at the very beginning where Mia falls down and then like gets straight back up in a very supernatural
demonic
way.
Yeah.
Yes, demonic. Yeah. And then that's when I just of course took the headset off as well. I was like, this is too real, man. This is too real. So yeah, I think that the emotions that it can elicit are very strong, and not only with horror games. You mentioned climbing in Horizon Call of the Mountain. I think that, of course, that's one of the biggest AAA games, I suppose, alongside Half-Life Alyx, and some others. But the fact that you're doing the physical movements, and I don't know, hearing the sound of the birds or whatever, or of a waterfall.
Just
I
the
think
wind,
that
literally anything.
yeah,
like the sounds. The audio is really done well.
I think that, in essence, to answer your question, I think that what I love the most about VR, sometimes I work from home, I work on PC, I work as a translator. So there are days, for example, let me just talk about this for a second. I got the Vendetta Forever shirts I won a giveaway by End Dreams. And I mentioned this because this one day I was just, I don't know, man, I was having a bad day, right? So I had bought Synapse because everybody said that game was amazing, right? So I just started playing it, and then the whole hour completing a run just went by, and moving everything with your brain and using the weapons and losing and then trying again. I think that that just made like it just reminded me every time that I get the the headset back on again after not playing it for a couple of days. I'm like, why did I stop playing, man? And mainly it's because it's too hot here in Mexico as well. But you know, sometimes I just turn on the AC and I'm like, I
Yeah,
want to play.
yeah.
I want to play.
I was gonna say you don't look like you're absolutely melting though. Like you look like you're absolutely fine. Me, I'm just like, look at this light. Like, look at this. Look, what's that?
Yeah, no, yeah, you're.
Somebody could use my face as like a mirror at this point. That's how bad it is right now.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I got the MetaQuest 3 back there, but yeah, basically, man, it's just that I know in this podcast and overall the word immersion must be very overused by now, but it's just there's no better way to describe it, right? Like it's, you know, I have a friend who I invite over to play games, right? He recently played what's that horror game, the Exorcist VR game, right? And I had to take care of him to not, hit any furniture because he was too into it. I was like, no, 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 stay
I think
here.
you shared a video of that, didn't you, online? I think
Oh
you share a
yes,
video of it. I remember you sharing that and seeing that, and yeah, literally, The Exorcist was really well done. Great horror game, like, and yeah, you're evil for putting your friend in it. Yeah,
I am a little bit, but yes.
yeah. But you walked away smiling, right?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, that was a great day for me, at
Yeah,
least.
proud of you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, the next question we usually ask is, what's kept your passion alive for VR for this long? But obviously, where you've only started playing VR in
Hmm.
2023, you haven't been playing it since like 2018 or even earlier than that. And I mean,
Yeah,
even in that case, like I suppose not what keeps your passion alive, but what genuinely makes you passionate for VR. Like what experiences have I don't know, just blown your mind? I suppose let's go with that. Like what really kind of has taken make you take a step back?
yeah. I wrote some ideas that I had, and I never knew when I was gonna be able to have them. But this is a great question, and I think that most recently, it's this game called Star Vault. It just came out for MetaQuest. It's a MOBA, a VR, an authentic VR MOBA, and I got commissioned to write a review about it. Right, I think, an impressions piece about it for Upload VR, and I knew about League of Legends and all of the other MOBAs, but I had to familiarize a lot myself with the
Yeah,
genre. And I even asked some of my friends who were addicted to LOL for a while there, some pointers to give me some pointers, and then
lol.
and then I just really really liked it because I think at this stage in my life it's very it's very uncommon to find a new genre that I haven't played before. I've played games all of my life, since I was a kid, and to find a new genre and to find it in VR, with this game Star Vault, a game that as for anybody who's played a MOBA, you can choose different characters. It drops you on your base, and you have to slowly work towards defeating the enemy and getting to their base. Which you just click a lot if you play it like on a PC. But if you're in VR, if you choose the character that has knives, you just have to use the knives and move a lot, or there's a character that is like a robot and you actually have to again physically move, and it's just and use your your headset to move your head to like shoot and stuff. So it's, I don't know, I think that when they make games from the ground up for VR, not just ports, I think that that's where I feel is the best that the genre can be. You got Arcane Age recently as well. That is just a fantastic game
Brilliant
that
game.
very very well uses all of the VR medium to its advantage. So I think that yeah.
I still think the climbing axes on that game are some of the best I've ever experienced in terms of like climbing in VR. They felt just every time you hit it into the wood, like it just, I don't know, the noise. It was just complete satisfaction to the point where I was just climbing trees, even though I didn't need to, just
Yeah,
because I was like, yeah, this is it's very audible. I like this. This is good noise. Um, so yeah, that was a bit weird, but it's a great game. Really did enjoy that one.
indeed.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, in terms of questions, like That's pretty much it. I mean, we usually ask one more, which for some reason it's actually gone from my document because everything seems to be going wrong for me right now. But hey, that's the reason people listen to the show. It's
Look,
not
brother, it's a
we're not
heat. You're
we're not professional here. There we go. I've got it back up. I found it.
yeah.
So the other question we usually ask is, I could cut that bit out, but everybody knows we're not going to because that's the good part of it. You know, we like to keep it fresh.
Yes.
Anyways, what's your favorite game that comes to mind that you've played in VR?
Okay, I've already mentioned Horizon, Arcane Age, Synapse. So I think that for now, um, I think my all time favorite. That's I think I have to go with the classic, right? Resident Evil 4. It plays so great. I think that
It is
it
good in
plays
VR.
really great. Like
Yeah,
the the way that you use the guns, you move. Again, the visual fidelity is so beautiful, and it's a full on campaign, right? Which is something that I really appreciated in Arcane Age, but it's something that you don't really find that often. A lot of games are
like 2
roguelikes.
hours or
Mhm. So yeah, I think that Resident Evil 4 VR is one of the best. I haven't really played it that much, about 5 hours, because I really want to savor it, you know. But
yeah, you
yes,
might as well keep saving it until we get the announcement that Resident Evil 9 is coming to VR, and then be like, okay, now I can get through Resident Evil 4. And if you haven't done Resident Evil 8, I highly recommend playing that in VR as well.
yeah.
Um, I actually played the game back on PS4 before VR came to it, and I regret that decision massively. I wish I waited, but at that point, the PSVR 2 hadn't been announced, I don't think, not from memory anyway. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm not going to hold off playing this just in case the PSVR 2 doesn't come out. They haven't mentioned anything about PSVR 1. Let's just crack on with it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't give me that same experience. So, game's great though.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Um, well, yeah, I think that's my favorite. Behemoth, of course, it's pretty great, and I love that they keep updating them. They just released an update, right?
Yeah,
Earlier this
Wrath
month.
and Rights, or Rights and Wrath, or whatever it's called, something along them lines.
Yeah.
Not jumped into it yet. I need to reinstall that game, and oh no, I don't need to reinstall it. It's still installed. I need to jump in back in and play it. But my issue is at the moment is I am not playing any game where I'm waving my arms around right now. Like my limit at the moment is, I'll jump on a driving game, or I'll
Hmm.
play Maestro for 2 hours straight. I mean,
Oh, Maestro.
last night when I was recording this, not the day you were hearing this, but I was
Hmm.
literally spent 2 hours in the B haptics playing loads of different games,
Hmm.
and I literally got out of that thing and I was drenched, like absolutely drenched. But great experiences nonetheless. It was a lot of fun. Um, so where do you want to see VR go? What do you want to see next for VR?
Right. Well, we see Meta, of course, leading the charge. You've asked this question to other, great content creators about this. And I think simply that I know that Batman and Deadpool are there to bring in new audiences. And last year, I remember Upload VR made an event where they gave out awards, and somebody said that. Um, VR is a medium that once it really clicks with you, the first thing that you want to do is show it to somebody else. And I
That's
think
true.
that's what I've done, with a couple of friends who, don't suffer motion sickness. And, whenever we have some time, and I show them, the best of the best, which is, again, Batman, or, horror games or whatever, right? Um,
Depending
but
on what mood you're in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I don't know. I would like to see more. I This is such a difficult question. I think that I like that. I don't know. End Dreams, for example, right? They are coming out with Reach, a new game that is
Looks
not that
so
is
good.
a new IP that is honestly completely different from what we've seen.
Original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I would love to see more original stuff. I know it's a big risk and a big bet, because people just want to be, I don't know, a superhero or a character that they already know. But
Yeah.
Behemoth, as some people said, it's just like, I don't know, God of War, right? You can throw your axe and you can bring it back to your hand. So it's, there's, I don't know, to see something more about that, like to not be chained to well-known IP, is what I would like to see.
I'd agree with that. I think I really like that answer, to be fair. I do think people play it too safe in terms of creating games. And it's one reason why I absolutely love indie development stuff, because
Yeah.
they follow their passion, they follow what they truly believe in, and they don't sway away from it. And even sometimes when they get asked to remove things, they kind of backtrack and be like, actually, we're not doing this. We don't want to remove that. This is integral. There's so many games like that have released. I mean, take Madison for instance. I mean, I'm not saying that they got ever asked to remove stuff. They might have done. I'm pretty sure somewhere along the lines maybe they was, but
Mm-hmm.
I love how they just followed their vision and went stuck true to the whole thing, even though there is some things in there that are truly, you know, things you probably wouldn't be too happy to do in VR or too happy to experience in VR. But at that point in time, the game wasn't a VR game nonetheless. So, but at the same
Yeah.
point, I do love that indie games do constantly keep pushing these boundaries of what they can and can't do, and they stick to their artistic values. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it's the same thing with original IPs. They have this vision, they have this idea, and they stick to it. But as soon as an IP is involved, it's okay. You've got to stick to the brand. You've got to
Mm-hmm.
follow along with what we tell you to follow along, because you need to protect the brand. And then certain things get swayed, and then they go, okay, you can't do that, and then like, okay, well, we can't do that, even though it's a great idea, but we can't do it. And then you get a game that don't necessarily comes out bad or anything, but you might get a
Mm-hmm.
game that's a bit dumbed down, unless they get complete, development. Like, okay, you do whatever you want, and we will support it 100%. That's what we need more of in these IP games. I'm not saying there's any that have been fully like tight and they've said, okay, you can't do this and that, but
Yeah.
we do know that it's probably happened in the past with other stuff. It's one of the things where it wouldn't surprise me. Batman though,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. One of the best VR games I've played in recent years. Just for finger physics alone, like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that stuff is awesome. But no,
Yeah.
Batman is great. I am looking forward to Deadpool. I'll probably say I'm not as hyped for it as I was Batman,
Mm.
just because even though I do like Deadpool, Batman is just huge, and I love the Arkham games. It means so much to me. But no, I am looking forward to seeing where Deadpool goes and jumping into that one. I think that's going to be a really interesting experience, especially if they keep the humor going and it kind of flows nicely and doesn't feel like, I don't know, out of place, I suppose is the best way of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be interesting what happens.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to say real quick that they asked the VR community is small but very very active, very enthusiastic. At least
Passionate.
on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody asked Fire Sprite, the developers of Horizon Call of the Mountain, what they were doing, right? And they said, they just put on like a cooking emoji, right? A cook emoji.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's your confirmation. I saw somewhere last year that Sony is apparently developing 2 VR games, which is decidedly not a lot, but I don't know. I would just love to see. It's been 2 years since Call of the Mountain, so I'm excited to see whatever it is that they're cooking because they've already proven themselves. And I again, sorry,
Fire. Yeah, I was going to say Fire Sprite proved themselves before they were acquired by Sony. I mean, with the persistence,
persistence. Yeah.
it was such a great game in VR. I mean, it was almost like a Dead Space like experience in VR. It was really well done. It looked
Hmm.
great. And I mean, for the PSVR 1 as well at that time, I'm not saying the PSVR 1 was bad with visual quality or anything, but it
Of
looked
course.
really good. I'd love them to bring that over to PSVR 2 if they can, just simply because I think people that haven't experienced it need to experience it now with better controllers and a better way to experience that kind of thing.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. Good, good. Anything else you want to add?
No, for now we can move on. I was just thinking of one last game called Deep Cuts. Did you play that one?
I did play Deep Cuts. Deep Cuts remind me a lot of like Bone Labs. I didn't mind it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I feel like I'd prefer it more if I was playing it on PC or PlayStation, just because I found it had some quality issues on the Quest. I think is the best way of putting it. It had frame
Yeah.
issues here and there, things that would have been better experiences elsewhere. But it also didn't turn out to be the game that I was overly expecting as well, I suppose. But overall, I liked the general concept of it, and I do
Mm-hmm.
enjoy them type of games where it's kind of like sandbox, do what you want esque type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
As long as my imagination's feeling good that day, then they're fun to play.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the concept of deep cuts is pretty fun, and kind of brilliant if you think about it, right? So there's this machine that lets you get inside the movie, right? And then you
Yeah.
fight, Godzilla, or enter a Western, or, whatever genre of film that you can think of, it's there. And I think that concept in VR works very well. Of course, the quality, there's always going to be, some sort of disparity, right? If with PCVR, PSVR 2, and
Yeah.
MetaQuest. But, I think that eventually you learn to ignore it, right? Like, because Batman,
You do,
doesn't have,
yes.
Batman, for example, doesn't have the best qualities ever, but the best graphical
Depends
quality
when you
ever.
played it. Did you
Yeah,
play it
but
when it first released or later on down the line?
I mean, it it looks good enough, is what I'm saying. It doesn't
Yeah,
look
it
like mind
does. Yeah.
blowing, but it's fine. Like, it's the whole experience, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you can move, the fact that it's so authentic to the Arkham games and to Batman as a character as a whole, I think it's where it truly shines.
Yeah, exactly.
For
But no, I
example,
mean, I'm not entirely against deep cuts. I played it for about an hour and a half, I think, just to kind of get a feel of it. I
mm.
did the, is it the Western Saloon kind of one where you kind of
Yeah,
walk
yeah,
around the area? And I like the different scenarios, like, go into a church and all of a sudden there was like a demon there. And it was very out there. Like, I genuinely did like the ideas.
yeah.
But again, it may be not. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood of playing it at that time, or
Hmm.
it's. But I did have a couple of frame drops here and there. But again, like you said, you get used to it. I mean, I play Tactical Assault, and usually when Tactical Assault starts, you have like a little bit of a frame droppage when you first load the game, then it kind of irons itself out.
Hmm.
I could not care less. You could have that game frame dropping all the way through. I would still play it because it's absolutely fantastic, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
So no, I do agree with what you say. You get used to the limitations of the quest, and I wouldn't say you appreciate it, but you
Yeah,
adapt to it.
and one last thing, this time for real. I think that you review games, I review games. I love your channel. You review a
Thank
bunch
you.
of games. Your Maestro review just came out. I
It
think
did.
that you are a solid reviewer whenever I need to have like some general thoughts, and you're concise about that. But enough about glazing you. The thing is that
No.
the
You can carry on a little bit longer if you'd like. By all means, don't stop.
the thing is that as reviewers, if the performance issues, frame drops, and whatnot are egregious, you really have to mention that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm saying this as a disclaimer, right? Because now we're saying, yeah, you just ignore it. But I mean, as a reviewer, you do
Oh
have
no.
to judge, like, is it that bad for me to dedicate like a whole paragraph about how bad it is, or
Yeah,
just
exactly.
add a little disclaimer there, like, hey, you might encounter a few issues here and there, but the game is fine, something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did that. I mean, when I say ignore it, it's more ignore it when I'm playing it and not to test the game. It'd be more so
Uh-huh.
like, say if I played the game, like really enjoyed, and I said in the review on this part here, I did experience some frame drops. Take the Midnight Walk, for instance. On one of the later chapters, there is parts where it was really badly frame dropped when I was going in and out of wardrobes,
Mm.
and also the game crashed at that point. I think it was
Mm.
once. I mentioned this in the review, but did that really stop my enjoyment of the game? And that's what I try and get at. Like, if it's there, you spot it, you know it, kind of thing. But there's always there's some certain games you play and you go back to and you're like, I know this isn't that great, but for some reason, I absolutely love it.
Uh-huh.
Like, and there's so many things like that with VR. VR is full of jank. It's full of
Yeah.
things that aren't perfect, but for some reason there'll be a gameplay loop that's just so wonderful that you're like, okay, I'm going to live with the jank. I'm going to live with the issues because whatever you're giving me right now is absolutely doing it for me. So,
Hmm.
but yes, no. Anytime there is issues with games, if it's like that, they are always raised, and they're not usually ignored.
No, no, I
Sometimes I
know.
wish we could ignore them. I really do. I wish a developer could release a game and be like, Joe, this is fantastic, but sadly, it's not always the case, and you'll always get it as it is,
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. You're a good reviewer. You're a great reviewer.
Thank you.
I know that you mentioned those issues. I was just thinking about
Yeah,
it as a whole.
I enjoy reading your ones, but I find myself reading your non VR stuff more so than actually your VR stuff these days because
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose I kind of find myself living through you in the sense of what you're playing in non VR because I don't get the time to play that as much. Like I watched your review of
Yeah.
uh, Bloom and Rage.
Oh yeah, I
Because
love that.
I
Yeah.
hadn't played it and I really want to play it, but I haven't had the time to do so. So I watched a review and I was like, yeah, I really need to play this game. This sounds great, and I enjoy the Life is Strange series. I really do, and I need to jump into Blooming Rage. And
Hmm.
even with your interview, because you did an interview with one of the Life is Strange, is it developers or
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
engineers?
yeah. But she was from the Double Exposure writing team.
Okay, yeah.
But now that you think about it, I need to get in touch with them too. Thanks for reminding me.
But do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of them things where it's like, I feel like with anything you play in non-VR, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this or reading this because I just don't get the time to play it. Like Harold
Mm,
Halibut, like I remember reading how much you love that game, and I'm like,
I did.
I have it. I can play it at any point. Why haven't I done this yet? Oh, I know, because another VR game's coming out and I'm sinking time into that. And it goes back to, I'll probably keep referencing this. It's something me and Brian says, like when you want to play a game outside of what you do is like this hobby that you've now
Hmm.
crafted this thing you're doing. It's so difficult. Like I still need to sit down and continue Doom. Like, and I haven't finished Doom yet. I just need to sit down and continue it. I love Doom.
Yeah.
I just haven't had the time. And more games every week. It's like, oh, no, this is coming to PlayStation, and no, this is coming to Quest. Okay, cool. So I'll take a
Hmm.
break. Never. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, we have the option not to cover games,
Uh-huh.
but some of them pop up, and you're like, Joe, what? I've been given the opportunity to cover that. It sounds fantastic. I'm not going to pass up. Sounds like something I could really get behind and be really passionate about. And
Yeah.
it's like Gamertag said, it's always great to talk about games that you truly enjoy. There's nothing worse than reviewing something that you've promised to cover and it's just not fun and it's disappointing to you because people
Hmm.
hear that in your voice, and then sadly when they hear it in your voice, it just sound like you're being negative, but you're not. It's just
You're disappointed.
sometimes these experiences can be incredibly deflating when beforehand they sounded magical. So
Hmm.
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So go on.
Sorry, no, yeah, I just wanted to say really, really quickly, and I really love that you mentioned that because it's the mindset and the games that you mentioned, Harold Halibut and Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Both of those games really want you to slow down and take it easy, right?
Yeah,
Explore the areas and talk with everybody, stuff like that, right? Really, really immerse yourself in the story. And the problem with that is when sometimes, as reviewers, you know this very well, you have a mindset of I just want to get to the credits and say that I finished the game. But
yeah,
sometimes that's not the goal. The goal is to, in Bloom and Rage, you have this camcorder right from the 90s. Sometimes the goal is to just like record random stuff in the woods, right? And find enjoyment in that. So if you approach these sort of games in the mindset like, it's Friday, but on Monday I need to deliver this review because another VR game's coming out, like it's not going to do
yeah.
anything for you.
It's
And yeah.
it's one of the things where if you don't set yourself to slow down and go at your own pace, you will just burn yourself out.
Mhm.
But hey, everybody works in their own way. So I
Absolutely.
mean, going back to like Life is Strange, was like the last Life is Strange game that came out, the one where you play as Max again.
Hmm.
Still not played it. My partner has. She absolutely loved it, and I'm like, I need to jump into that. Still not done it. That's on the list too. I'm gonna. You know what? I found myself playing games over Christmas time, so I'm looking forward to Christmas again this year. Just because I took like a week or two off of actually recording and
Hmm.
making videos, I had stuff all ready to go for over the weeks that I wasn't doing anything, and I
Hmm.
just sat and played games like I would normally, and it was just a lot of fun to experience these things. Now, don't make this sound like I'm moaning about obviously being out, having these opportunities to cover stuff. I absolutely love getting to deal with this. This is incredibly fun, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But
Hmm.
the simple fact is, like, everyone needs a break sometimes. Everyone needs to just sit down and kind of enjoy themselves. I mean, Pearl took a break recently,
Hmm.
and it's you just need to do it. And I'm sure other people won't be recording every single day of the week. It's it just is what it is.
Yeah, you got to be healthy about it sometimes.
Exactly that. Exactly that. But another thing we wanted to do in this episode, last week during the Game and Tag episode, we had a sponsor on that episode. We're not sponsored this episode. I'd like to add that for anyone wondering. We're not. However, the last episode was sponsored with a giveaway, and I'm going to be announcing the winner of that giveaway now. I have a screen next to me with a spin wheel on it, which has all the entry names in it. So I'm going to press it now, and then I'll be saying the winner.
Let's go.
I can hear beeping in my ear while it's doing it.
Is it gonna be like a drum roll or something?
The winner is Golu. Although I feel like that shouldn't be because that dude has won too many things. But hey, if you, I would, How can I Joel, I'm going to take a screenshot of it. There you go.
Yeah,
Take a screenshot of that.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you,
I'll add that
honestly.
over the thing. There's a screenshot. I'll add that onto the thing. Yeah, congratulations, Golu. I mean, bear in mind, we did announce today, like with the way the Kofi membership thing is, people that are members, with every giveaway, they do get 2 entries. So he did have 2 of his names on there. So I suppose his little membership thing that he's done has probably helped him out a little bit. Although I don't know if he plays that many shooting games, so who knows? Maybe he'll do a kindness and pass it on.
Right.
But anyways, congratulations, Golu, and seriously, thank you everyone that enters these giveaways. We keep getting given these opportunities to do stuff like this. I mean, I still look back to the 100 episode giveaway we did, where I think in the end it was like 200 to 250 keys I was given to give away. And I remember the minute I announced all the winners, my phone pretty much vibrated itself to death. It fell off the table, and I picked it up, and there was like, I don't know, I'm going to say about 50 messages within the space of 5 minutes. It was absolutely insane, to the point where I had to like put an @ in the Discord and be like, guys, I'm getting to your messages. Just bear with me. Just calm. It was absolutely insane. Yeah, anyways, congratulations, Golu, for winning yet another giveaway. To be fair, there's loads of people in this actual wheel here that have won so many giveaways because we've done so many, and they're all in the Discord and things like that. So again, thank you, and best of luck to the next one. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue with the show. We had a topic, and we won't dive too much into this topic because I don't want to be overly negative.
Absolutely.
But I think the topic itself is already negative for the thing that we all love. So we've got a couple of posts. 2 of them, the most recent ones. One of them is one that I actually covered on my channel a while back because I thought it was poorly written and just sounded absolutely shite. But the first one we're going to start off with is Thief VR. Have you heard of Thief VR?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Well, Thief VR is a huge slap in the face and a kick in the teeth for everyone who has been waiting for more than a decade to return to the city, says PC Gamer.
Imagine that.
So I am more than happy to call out the writer here.
Yeah.
Fraser Brown.
Okay.
What the fuck? He says, you know what's funny? He's like, he actually puts, "This ain't it." You're right, Fraser Brown. This ain't it. This sounds like a person throwing their toys out of the pram. Have you got the post up? Have you got the whole thing up on your screen?
I do not, but I can get it on my phone.
That's fine. I'm going to be reading through some of the parts that I find quite funny, because there's actually 2 posts, and there's this one and there's another one, which I think was like there's this slap in the face and teeth, and there's another one where it's like, it's VR, so we don't care. We'll cover that one as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, it goes over how Thief VR is an influential game. It really is. Then we got the reboot. Not a lot of people liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't the best thing. It had a lot of issues, but overall, the game itself had some things that it did right. It goes into the whole, purchase from what was it called? What was the Embracer Group? How they bought Thief VR. Dives into cancellations, layoffs, studio closures, and then it gets to this point where it says, there you go.
Yeah.
It says something about a thief, and it says, "We were treated to an ugly trailer of Thief VR: Legacy of Shadow. One of the most disappointing reveals I've had the misfortune to witness since I started writing about games. Embracer is not the kind of company you want to determining the fate of anything you care deeply about. And I care a lot about Thief. It was a formative game for wee Fraser. And while its glory days are firmly in the past 25 or 21 years back, depending on how you feel about the actual extremely good Thief Deadly Shadows, the impact it had on game development was gargantuan."
Yeah.
It then goes on more about just talking about Thief as a whole. And then this is when it kind of, I don't know, I suppose the best way of putting it, he sounds very salty. Much like the sweat on my forehead right now. A new Thief then obviously piqued my interest. Thief 4 was disappointing and almost more than a decade ago. I'm ready for someone to take another crack at it. But this, a fucking VR game? Come the hell on. Look, VR is a gimmick.
Wow.
like, how angry can you be with your writing? This is my
Mm-hmm.
issue with this post. It's not that he's went in and said, okay, I don't feel like Thief as a game should be a VR thing, and actually put some points ahead as to why he feels,
Mm-hmm.
it started off with him talking about the history of Thief, and then just being like, fuck VR.
Mm-hmm.
No kind of like, if this was hybrid, I could get behind it a little bit, actually adding some facts that would us make you go, Joe, what? That's not a bad idea, Mr. Fraser. But instead, it's like
Yeah.
VR is a gimmick. It's always a gimmick. It promises everything and delivers nothing. It was like this when I was a kid, and it was the hot new thing. And this time around, nothing has changed. Occasionally, something kind of cool appears, like Half-Life Alyx, but I ain't restructuring my entire living room and strapping an uncomfortable headset on for the promise of a tiny handful of decent games that, frankly, still ain't all that.
Wow. No, that's like that. No, that's making me angry. I didn't read all of it.
You're a writer. You do this type of stuff. This is what you do. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a writer. Okay. I use words very poorly. I don't write them poorly. But I can tell you this is just done in poor taste and is just very, very shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it goes on more, but yeah, go on.
Uh-huh.
Add some thoughts, man.
Yeah, let me just say that, of course, it is insulting, right? I think that the wording is very important in everything that you do. And this guy is pretty much fanning the flames of hatred, and he's picking on VR, which is, as everybody knows, a niche medium that is really trying to grow, and it has grown in leaps and bounds ever
Yeah, it
since,
really has.
this writer first had his impressions of it. And I would ask him to give it another try, because I know that what happened after that is that it got even worse. They doubled down the next day writing another piece on PC Gamer, and I'm just disappointed in the writer and in the editor in chief of letting that. I mean, I know outlets nowadays are also struggling. They want that revenue, those clicks. They want that. I get it, but I mean, at the expense of Vertigo Games and Maze Theory, developers who have again also proven themselves
Yeah.
with
Infinite Insights, great game.
the Metro VR game.
Vertigo,
Yeah.
yeah. So Vertigo are publishing it,
Hmm.
and then Maze Theory are the ones that are developing. But I'm sure at any time that Vertigo probably will have some sort of input with development if they really need to.
Yeah.
But I think Maze Theory are up to the task, and I also think they must be working off of some sort of in-house Vertigo thing by the looks of it, because it looks very Vertigo in the terms of like how a VR game looks. And by that, I think people will know what I mean. You kind of see Arizona Sunshine, and then you see After the Fall, and then you see Metro, and you can kind of tell that these are all made by a similar developer, just the way it kind of looks and feels.
Hmm.
And Thief VR has that look,
Hmm.
but you said they did another post the day after and doubled down.
Hmm.
So the post I'm reading at the moment is the post that came the day after, which I actually think is worse than the post that came first. So it's almost like fuck VR, and then they were like, actually, Joe, what? Let's do this all over again. Let's just and then people started doing a post about Deadpool VR, which I can't find the actual link to that, so I'm not going to go into that one too much
Hmm.
detail. But there was something about Deadpool VR, but I think it may have been just somebody in the VR community fucking about. I can't find the actual original link. I can't find anything actually proving it was an actual post other than a headline. So we're going to ignore that one ever existing. But yeah, I just want to dive into this last bit here, where it says, and beyond the fact that it's a real bummer that I'd need to shell out for a niche bit of hardware to enjoy the new Thief is really disappointing. Thing is that it just looks kind of rubbish. A large part of that, I'll admit, is just seeing those awful disembodied hands. It would never look ridiculous. VR pretends it's all about next level immersion, but all the ways the vast majority of VR games have you interacting with the world, whether it's tactile, fiddly things or simply traversal, takes me right out of the game. He goes over novelties, being imprisoned in a VR headset, and what's the big idea?
Oh my God.
Yeah. How is this pushing stealth forward in the way the classics did? It's not. It's giving it a new lease on life in a way they think might be a good idea for the franchise.
Hmm.
The answer probably is that it isn't. The hook is that it's a VR game. That's it, and that's a bloody terrible hook. It immediately massively limits who can enjoy the game, and let's face it, limits what it can really do. VR games, by their nature, are games full of sacrifices and concessions. It's just another baffling call that suggests the people making these decisions don't really understand Thief or care to understand it. There's just a
Mm,
property that they have lying around doing nothing, so why not waste it on a VR game? Long
mm.
after most people stop giving a shit about VR. So, I got to
Yeah,
admit, when I first read this, I was so tempted to at him on Twitter, just be like, who the fuck hurt you? Why are you so angry about
yeah.
a video game? Like, we're here because we're all passionate about video games, whether it be VR or non-VR. But
Hmm.
why are you so angry? Like, did you tread on Lego that morning? Like, did you wake up and just like walk out of your room, just tread on a Lego followed by a plug, and just instantly you hated everything the world threw at you that day? Like, I don't know.
You know, something I wanted to say something. A parenthesis here. Something that I wanted to say is the community on Twitter. I am active on Twitter and on Blue Sky, more so on Blue Sky nowadays. But when I first got my PSVR 2 headsets and eventually my MetaQuest headset, which you can see right back here, people were very enthusiastic. They were very happy for me. The community really embraced me. As we said, it's a small, you know, you have some friends like, Brew Pounder is the one that comes to mind, him and many other great friends.
Do you know what?
They're funny.
I want Brew on here one day. I just want to sit and chat with him, just hear him talk about whatever goes through his mind. I'm like, dude, just take the stand. I'm walking away. You just say whatever the hell you want. His posts crack me up every single time when he talks about a game. It's hilarious. Just like,
Yeah.
it's just yeah. If you don't follow Brew Panda, go follow him. His posts will make you laugh. He'll play a VR game that's just came out,
Yeah.
and he'll say something and you'll be like, that's just absolutely perfect. So
Yeah,
yeah.
he's unhinged in the best of ways. I love him. He's very funny. But anyway, the point is that I think I'm also on a group chat, on Twitter with some other VR PSVR 2 enthusiasts. So it's great to see that, and it's great to see also the pushback from that post. And I remember last year as well when Batman Arkham Shadow, right, the VR game came out. Um, People like it. I feel like it's being repeated every time a cool VR game is announced. They said, oh, but we could have had another Batman Arkham game instead of the VR game. No, you would not have, because Meta funded this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the issue here that I think that they cannot grasp. And of course, now talking about this writer, I really don't know if
I've never seen any of his other work in terms of writing. Like, I've never come across any of his stuff other than this. I mean, in terms of
Mhm.
like getting known, this has probably done wonders for him, but not the best type of wonders because and it's like I said on last week's episode of Game Tag, the VR crowd are passionate, but they're also very angry sometimes and quite toxic when they want to be. They're not some people you want to rile up. They don't forgive and forget sometimes. They can
Of
be quite,
course.
and we're incredibly passionate about VR. Do you not think every day we play a VR game, there's like someone going, well, that's fucking stupid. Look at you putting that thing on your head. You look like a right idiot. I know I do, but the game looks good. Shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So, I mean, I was just looking while you was going on there. PC Gamer did 3 posts on this one game.
Mhm.
So that was one of them, with it being a kick in the teeth. And then there was one on the 4th of June. So that one I just read was on the 5th of June. This one was on the 4th of June. It starts off as an all-new Thief game was announced during State of Play, but it's a VR game, so who cares? Again, a very, very terrible title.
Yeah.
They go on, about what the game is that's coming. This one kind of talks about the game itself more. It says, Thief VR is a reimagined take on the once great stealth series, taking players back to the city, a place of shadows ruled by the tyrant Lord Ulysses Northcrest. You are Magpie, a cunning thief orphaned by Northcrest's brutality and shaped by the streets, who steals as the only means to survive. Yeah, so sounds just like Thief. It goes on to kind of that
Mhm.
stuff, talks about the game more, Garrett being back in it because they've actually got the original voice actor of Garrett reprising his role, which if you've ever played any of the Thief games and hearing that voice, it's like hearing David Hayter in a game. It's
Yeah.
huge. Okay. And then this one isn't as hateful actually, apart from the title. The title is awful. But it does go to this bit here. It says, all of this does sound like a Thief game, and it has the right look if you count Deadly Shadows among them, which I sometimes do and sometimes do not, depending on my mood. See that? His mood. There's a decent chance that this could turn out to be a very solid VR experience. And as devoted as I am to Stephen Russell, if the Thief series is going to carry on, it's probably time for a new lead, or at least to start making moves in the right direction, or in that direction. Sorry, let me not add words to the post to make it sound any worse than it already does. None of which unsours my mood. Superficial thief trappings aside, the fact that this is wall behind VR makes it essentially a non-entity, which I don't mean as a slight to VR fans. At least he doesn't mean it as that. I think he is talking more in terms of Thief as a franchise and how it feels to him. And I get it. Again, this is like, imagine Thief is VR to them, and we're like taking something, I suppose. I kind of get their anger, but yeah, this one's more about him just not being happy about it being a VR game. The other one, again, is not happy about it being a VR game, but comes in with more anger. And personally, I think it's in very poor taste for a PC gamer to even allow that one to go out.
I agree.
Yeah, and then they did another post recently on the 16th of June when Garrett was announced he was actually back, even though people recognised the voice straight away. They were like, oh, that's the original actor. So they did another post again about the Thief, Stephen Russell being back, all that kind of stuff. Again, this one's not really a hate to VR as much, it doesn't seem. Although it says, let's let this one list. It says, as one of maybe 3 people at PC Gamer who still cares about VR, I'm up for a game that explores what VR can do in old-fashioned immersive sims. Sure, I'd have preferred a full-length Thief sequel for flat screens, but I'm pessimistic enough to doubt that was ever on the table. Much like you said with Arkham, all that kind of stuff. It's not like people are lining up to buy a first-person stealth games in 2025. If we weren't getting Thief VR, we probably wouldn't get another Thief game at all. So I'll take what I can get, especially if it means to hear Stephen Russell make snarky remarks about rich people's decor, a throne room, how pretentious can you get? And this one, I kind of like this one because, yes, he's not hating. He's still saying, yes, he would have preferred it to be a flat game, but he's not absolutely just ruining and shitting on people's passions. So I'm going to give that one a shout. Jody McGregor, thank you for accepting VR and actually liking it in some sense.
Agreed.
And again, if you read this one, like I said, this one's titled, yes, that was the original voice of Garrett in the trailer for Thief VR by Jody McGregor on 16th of June. Read that one, be happy with that one, because they're not shitting on VR, whereas the other two are like, fuck VR, you haven't given it to me. Again, another post came out, IGN did one. Thief is back as a VR game. As a VR game. So they did one very similar style as PC gamers. It's more so the title one here again. It says, here we go. In the trailer during Sony State of Play, we got the first look at Thief VR Legacy of I'm saying it too many times now. Legacy of Shadow. The trailer itself looks fine and very thiefy. You're exploring a city, sneaking around, looking for treasure. You can pilfer, avoiding guards, shooting arrows from the shadows, lockpicking, finding hidden paths, all that sort of thing. It's a little weird to see those disembodied hands floating in front of you, but sure. And it kind of says, you can play this, but you're going to need a VR headset. Again, this one doesn't really kind of go in hate. It's the other two posts on PC Gamer that are the main culprits here.
It's a little thing that I wanted to mention is that they both say, the disembodied hands. And I have had friends who are also quite adamant to try VR.
It's a put off for some people.
And no, I mean, it could be, but I will say that I think that's a very easy tell that they really haven't played VR. Because, again, Horizon Call of the Mountain, which was my first experience, maybe at the beginning it was a little jarring, but 10 minutes later you just forget about it. It's your arms and your hands doing the movement. So I think that when somebody, like, when their first criticism is, these floating hands, is because they haven't used it, or at least I think they haven't played it, played with VR.
I will say, if you play a game for your first VR game and you play a game where you're actually seeing your arms, all this kind of stuff, that will distract you, and you'd probably leave with more criticism than you would if you just saw floating hands. Because the amount of times I've played a VR game where I see the arm and I kind of see him contorting and the elbow just popping inwards. And
yes,
and I'm like, Well, that doesn't seem normal. Or you put your arms forward, but for some reason in the game, your arms are like this still. Saints and Sinners, I'm looking at you. Great game, but your arms on it, I'll put my arms straight, yet they're still bent. It's one of them things where I think if you was to put someone in a VR game for their first experience, they'd be like, fuck, I ain't doing that. What's wrong with that? It's one of those things. So I think disembodied hands, yes, in the age of 2025, where we've now got all these revolutionary VR games, it's sometimes I'm like, I want to see a full body, like Batman, for instance. I think if Batman came out and you had floating hands, I think I'd have been like, no, I want to look down. I want to see the bat suit. I want to look at my,
see his shadow and
exactly. So I think it heavily depends on the style of game it is. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, FIFA, I probably would like it to see a full body, look down and see all like the kind of different fabric that you're wearing. Because again, it's one of them games that looks good, even though it's in the darkness. It looks good. Not the FIFA one. I've not actually played it, but obviously, I mean, going by FIFA in general, like you would look around and you look at things. Even like I remember playing the last one, and you look down, and it's one of the things where you kind of take notice of all these different things. I'm not someone that goes around and kind of looks at stuff and goes, "Oh, that doesn't look too good," kind of all the time. I take a look at the surroundings. If it's instantly noticeable, then yes, it's an issue. But I don't know. I pick up on some stuff, but it's one of them things where, like, I think in some VR games, I do want to look down. I do want to see my body. I want to feel that I'm in that body. I am that person.
Yeah.
But I will not lie, even with how long I've played VR games, the minute I put my arms out and they're not looking how my arms are looking in real life in terms of where the placement of my arms are, I instantly go, no, this would have been better with floating hands. Because it just feels worse. It doesn't register in your brain. Your brain will instantly pick that up with how that looks, more so than these hands floating in front of you, and I guarantee that.
Yeah.
So,
and sorry, that is something that is very difficult to achieve. Something that I love, an initiative that I love, the VR Games Showcase, right? And they made this VR Developer Direct showcasing Reach, Div VR, and RoboQuest VR. And I remember the developers from End Dreams talking about Reach, talking about why they chose to make it like a full body is because you're jumping and you're doing all of these acrobatics. So there is a game design choice behind that as well. And as you said, like they mentioned that it's very difficult to do because sometimes the wrists are not right or the arms
start twisting and it's literally, I've seen so many different games try it, and only a handful of games that do it absolutely flawlessly, where you look and there'll be no issues whatsoever. They'll be in the perfect position at all times. Somehow they managed it. There is always something where it's like, that's jarring. That looks a bit weird. But yeah, I remember reading something as well with Reach. Obviously, the fact like when you'll be like looking down and dangling off of stuff, and you'll kind of be seeing your whole body. You're just looking down and just seeing a depthless pit, but where you're seeing your legs hanging, like, oh shit, I'm actually hanging here. This is cool. Yeah. I'm also really big on the gesture movement. I love, because I said it when Paul was on, the other wearer of the Vendetta Forever t-shirt. You now mark the second person on here with that t-shirt. I'm sure we've had more that have just not shown it because they know I don't have one, so they try to avoid showing me it because I'm like, ugh. I might even message Endrews and go, hey guys, do you have one of those Vendetta Forever t-shirts still?
No, they're out. They told me this was the last one. I'm sorry, but
no, I'm gonna slide them a crisp £20 note. But anyways, like I love gesture controls. I do when I play VR games in general. I do find myself swaying my arms. I don't know why. I just think it just feels cool when you're seeing these arms move in front of you and all this kind of stuff in VR. And it's awesome. And I can't wait to play Reach. I think in terms of like what I'm hyped for in VR, even with Deadpool being announced, like I'm trying to think of what else has been announced in terms of something that's massively really big, like a AAA type of thing or looks AAA. I mean, obviously we've got Undead Citadel coming, but I mean, I'll touch base on that more and soon. Not soon, when we talk about it in a minute with the announcement of the release date. But Reach, for me, it looks truly AAA. And like you said, it's original. It's something we've not seen before. And that really excites me. So, and plus, it's End Dreams. It's End Dreams, like...
Yeah, I love them.
They do good stuff.
Yeah, just a one, like my last rebuttal regarding this subject, this a PC Gamer article, I just wanted to say that, it's very easy to pick on the small guy, right? Even he said that it was a niche. Like, he's aware that he's attacking, like, the low hanging fruit. Like, it's just right there. Criticizing VR is something that we have seen time and time again. And the critics are very loud, and thankfully, like, a very small group of people. I see YouTubers all of the time. I saw this guy who was a VR content creator as well, but like made this very dramatic thumbnail, like it's over, and his face looking
Yeah, I know,
down,
and yeah,
and it's like, I mean,
I
come
know
on,
exactly what
dude,
you're on about.
like, and it's like, and this is one of the reasons, now that I'm thinking about it, that I'm very proud of you guys, and I'm thankful to be here today, because VR is, when all of that bullshit like is dissipated, and you actually are in front of the game and playing and having fun, to be able to share that excitement with someone else is just where it's at, and I hope
Yeah.
that whoever listens can also connect with that and be like, what, after I finish listening to this podcast, I'm going to pick up my VR headset again and play that game that I've been putting off or whatever, right? Because it's that good.
I mean, I'm probably going to go play some Maestro again once it cools down, just because I'm absolutely addicted to that. And I will be talking about that. We'll be diving straight into that. But let's go over some of the news, because not been a busy week, but again, I think this kind of ties in as well with the topic that we had, just because there's some of this news that's come out that's made a bit more of a negative connotation come around VR once again. The most famous VR is dead, or more notably this week we've been seeing is PSVR 2 is dead. We'll dive in that. We'll jump into that. But the first thing, you said about 2 Sony first-party titles coming to PSVR 2. Well, one of them did arrive. It's not what you expected, though, is it? It's Climate Station, a game where I'm going to be honest, I haven't jumped into it. I haven't had time. I was playing other games that I watched Jammy's video. Good friend of the show, Jammy Hero. If you don't watch Jammy Hero, fantastic reviewer. Go check him out. I'm sure a lot of people that watch this, he's been on it a couple of times now. So he's done a video on it, and while it looks like something cool, I don't think it's something people were expecting to see Sony's name next to, I think is the best way of looking at it. So I can't really talk much on the actual experience itself because I've not played it. Have you jumped into it yet?
No, I saw some gameplay videos, and it reminded me, and this is gonna be like a deep cut probably. Do you remember on the PS3 that there was this app that you could like use your PS3 processing system to like help like a hospital like process like DNAs or stuff like that? Do you not remember? No, yeah, I mean, yeah. I like, it just came to me, but the thing is that in that app. Like just Google it like that. In that app, you could see the world, and you could see like how it was at that point in time, right? If it was in the northern American hemisphere, you could see if it was like the sunlight, and if it was, I don't know, Japan, it would be like night, and you could learn about a lot of stuff. In this game, Climate Station, kind of reminded me of that. Of course, in a more immersive way.
Yeah, it reminded me of like the experiences. I say it reminded me because I haven't played it yet, and I will try and jump into it at some point. I've been busy with a lot of other stuff, namely the B haptic stuff. I've been really taking time with that, and again, like I said last week, I will be speaking a lot about it on one of the episodes. I'll dive into absolutely everything that I've been using on the B haptics and going into different experiences and giving you all my thoughts on that, as well as obviously there's gonna be videos on my own channel as well. But I will jump into Climate Station. For me right now, I saw it and I was like, I'm not really too fussed by it at the moment. Like VR at the moment with how hot it is in the UK, my time is limited in VR until I'm like, okay, I need to get out of this thing. And I didn't think spending an hour in that was warranted of my time right now. Maybe when it's cooled down a bit, I'll dive in.
Totally fair.
But jumping into an announcement that came today, which we're recording this on Friday, which is the day the announcement happened. Undead Citadel is coming June the 26th to PSVR 2. A game that I feel has been announced for years, since the release of PSVR 2, even beforehand. Looking forward to it?
I am. Like, honestly, Dungeons of Eternity, for example, is another game that they are trying to port right to the PSVR 2 system. And
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes. I mean, Ghost of the War, for example, already arrived, and I will say, I do love my PSVR 2 system, and I would like to see more third-party developers support it because the increase in visuals and graphics and the
It's appreciated.
haptics, and I absolutely love the adaptive triggers as well. Is something that I've always loved on my
Andreas,
DualSense.
I could hug
And
you right now, mate. Exactly what I say every single time I review a game.
hell yeah.
Shooter, you've got to have adaptive triggers. If you miss out on those, you're missing out on one of the most fundamental things of a shooter game. It's,
Hmm.
I don't know, it takes you from being like a solid shooter to like being like the best shooter you'd play just because it adds that haptic support with the adaptive triggers every time. Love it.
Yes, yeah, I played Crossfire recently, and it's good. Like it feels very good. Honestly, I
I
recommend it.
love Crossfire.
Yeah, and well, now going to Undead Citadel, the haptics on the headsets. I read that the combat is very good, so I'm always up for a game that has that physics based crunchy combat, like Legendary Tales.
Yeah,
So yeah, and it has a campaign apparently as well. So
it
I'm
does.
all for that.
So, I mean, I can't talk about the PSVR 2 version. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I haven't played the PSVR 2 version,
Of course, yeah.
um, but I have played the PC version. But
Mm.
it was over a year ago now, and I know they've been working on a lot of stuff, rejigging things and making it better and things like that. So I'm hoping from what I experienced then has kind of changed. But yes, there is a full story. It starts off and literally you get dialogue straight away at the start. You get voice acted character, and you go through these different levels. And the story is actually, I wouldn't say it's something you're going to be like, this is the best story ever, but it's something you're kind of happy to follow along with hearing this thing other than just walking around and mindlessly killing these undead.
Hmm.
The combat is good, but the only thing I found on the PC, and I'm hoping they've changed it a little bit now, is that like after doing 2 or 3 levels in one go, I was kind of like, okay, that's enough of that now. I'm going to go do something else. It didn't kind of make me go, oh, I need to go for the next one. This is awesome. And I'm hoping
Hmm.
with the feeling of the haptics and, just I mean, I didn't have good headphones at the time on the PC either, but good audio, haptics, and all that kind of stuff on the PS2. I'm hoping like that extra oomph will make me go, "This is awesome!" Kind of. And I'm not saying this in terms of it's a bad game because it's
Hmm.
not. But what I'm trying to say is like, I think the PS2 may improve this. Like I said, I don't know. I've not played the PS2 version. However,
Hmm.
when it does release, you can, bet you will be hearing the faults that I have on the game on here as well.
I will be hearing from you. Yeah, I will be
Yes, you
tuning in.
will. I will be like under Citadel, and then I'll dive right in. But no, in all seriousness, I haven't played it on PSVR 2 yet. I am looking forward to it because I've been hyped more to play this on PSVR 2 than I was on the PC, and even more so, I didn't actually jump into the Quest version after playing it on the PC. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let them cook. I'll come back to it when they release the PSVR 2 version, and I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully, by the time I do get a chance to play it, this heat has died down. Another great game release, though. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Escaping Wonderland came to
Yes.
PlayStation this week. Now, first off, before I dive into this game, I've only ever played a little bit of it. I haven't had a chance to jump into the PSVR 2 version yet, and I will be making some time over the weekend, hopefully, to jump in once I've sorted out my PC. Um, I think this game is incredibly charming, but from
Yeah.
what I experienced, I've experienced a little bit on Quest, and it is incredibly charming. It's one of the things where it's just, I don't know, I would like to say moss-like, but it's not moss-like, if you get what I mean. It's not like you're roaming around completely and you have that moss look, but
Hmm.
it's almost like just something you can kind of sit down and you take it all in and you enjoy these little moments. And I don't know, you live in this world that they've created. My only setback, well, not my own setback, the only thing that's kind of maybe a little bit upset is that they
Hmm.
haven't ported the first game over as well, because obviously the first game's still trapped on the PSVR 1. And I hope they do kind of say, Joe, what, this is done really well. Let's get this one over as well. We'll let them experience that again,
Yeah.
because I think that'd be quite nice. But yeah, if you haven't played Escaping Wonderland, definitely go give it a go. It's such a charming game. I think people are going to really love it, and just especially if you're something just you just want something chilled. Especially if you're in the UK right now and you've got this hot weather, just something chilled. Sit there with a fan blasting on you and just kind of live in this world. It's not the longest of games, but it's something truly remarkable. So yeah, and that's in the short time I've played it on Quest. Like, I've not finished it on Quest, but that's in the short time of just me saying how charming this thing is. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the trailer way back. I don't remember exactly where. Probably the VR Games showcase, actually. And I did play the first one. I was part of the Quest Plus program, right? Like, where they give off,
Yep.
free games you can play. And yeah, I fell in love with it. I think I had just finished actually playing Moss and Moss Book 2 as well. So my mind was already attuned to this type of storybook like charming video games that just appeal to your inner child or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
also in VR, the voice acting, the little sound effects and everything. I think that they really use the medium to its full advantage. And I'm glad that it's out now on PSVR 2 because I think I actually bought it on Quest, but now I'm gonna buy it on PSVR 2 because, like, yeah, I just maybe if it's just a tiny bit better, I want it to be the best experience that it can be for me.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, that's out now. Cortopia. Yeah, they've got another game, obviously, they're working on still. Another part of their studio. They're working on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the moment.
Oh
And they're
yeah.
also still working on Gone 2, bringing that across to PSVR 2 because they announced that ages ago that they're bringing that to PSVR 2 as well. So, I mean, Cortopia are certainly like, they already had a name for themselves, but I feel like just recently as well, like they're really hitting it, like to the point where it's like, this is coming in, this is coming in. Like, okay, guys, you calm down a little, just take a step back. But nope, let them keep it going because I tell you what, I think in years to come, people are going to say Cortopia and everybody's going to know the games they make because it's always something incredibly, just really interesting. I mean, Gorn obviously came from Free Lives and Devolver, and then they've started working on the second one. And like I said to Brian, they've been doing a great job on it because I played it on the Quest and absolutely loved it. So yeah, just keep an eye out. Whenever you see Cortopia, keep an eye out on their games. They're starting to make a name for themselves. Well, I say not starting to make a name for themselves. They had a name for themselves, but I think it's getting to the point where they're starting to solidify that. But yeah. Anyways, back to some negatives.
Oh no.
Because we like to fluctuate this. We like to really throw you on your axis. Meta has merged Downpour Entertainment with Camouflage. So Onward is now ceasing development.
Yep.
This is a huge loss. Not just for a VR shooter and someone who loves VR shooters, but I think just for the future development of Onward, where it could have been. When they did their 2.0 update, seeing where it was from 1.0 to 2.0, mind-blowing. They did such a great job just to see all that work that they've put in this game where they could have kept expanding it. Now just been like, yep, you're not doing that anymore. You're now working with Camouflage. And I'm not saying that in a bad way because Camouflage, Batman, Iron Man, fantastic developers.
Indeed.
But yeah, I suppose it's kind of two different things. One's a shooter and one's this team that's developing like story-based games. And I don't know, I was quite shocked to hear that. Really shocked.
Yeah, a lot of the MetaQuest's financial decisions have been very aggressive, to say the least.
And they don't come like okay, we're gonna Downpour's still here, but we're just restructuring the team. You're gonna have like 10 people working there. We're gonna keep providing updates in a slow pace, maybe one every 6 months, and we're just gonna keep you happy with what we're doing for the game. Now, Downpour, you're no more, mate. You're in with Camouflage. Onward, fuck off. It is very much like that, and you feel it with every time they post like this. So it is very aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one hit me. But we won't dive into that too much because the other story that came out a day after, I think hit a lot more people, a lot harder.
Indeed.
And I think everyone knows what I'm going to go into now.
Yeah.
Beat Saber is no longer supporting PSVR 1 and PSVR 2. Now, I do have the full post of what this means and what they actually shared out to the community. Let me just get that up. Because where has it gone? Because I'm losing everything. It's not that one. It's this one here. Let me put this on the screen here because I've got too many screens. Dear PS4/PS5 players, they didn't address us as PSVR 1 or PSVR 2, it's just PS4 and PS5. As we look to the future and plan the next big leap for Beat Saber, we have made the decision to no longer release updates of PS4 and PS5 starting in June 2025. Our passion for VR remains unwavering. We are excited about the possibilities that lie ahead and what we can bring to Beat Saber fans who have been on this journey with us for the past 7 years, over the past 7 years, they put. What this means for you. This update will not impact your ability to keep playing Beat Saber, and you will still have access to the content that you've previously purchased on the PlayStation platform. Beat Saber will still be available for purchase on PS4 and PS5 devices, and you can still play and purchase songs or music packs that were released prior to June the 18th, 2025. However, no new content will be released on these platforms after that date. Additionally, starting on June the 21st, 2026, multiplayer will no longer be available in Beat Saber on PS4 and PS5. Crossbuy, however, will remain active between the PS4 and PS5 base game. We're grateful for the incredible support you've shown us over the years, and we're excited to share what the future holds for Beat Saber.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you can imagine, Twitter went mad. VR communities went mad. Content creators went mad.
Yeah.
It was a huge headache when this got announced. And I understand it, but there was a lot of, oh, well, this means the end for PSVR 2. PSVR 2 screwed, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But so people started asking me in Discord, well, what do you think about this? And I instantly just kind of shut off. I was like, I did a post on Twitter. I was like, I'm not diving into this. I'm not making a video, because I sat down. I was like, I might make a video about this just to really convey my thoughts. And I thought, you know what? No, that I have crossbar and we can convey it here, but let it simmer a bit, as opposed to day one where I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I was like, you know, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to spend my time playing some games that are coming to PSVR 2 that everybody can be happy about. And I did. I spent my evening playing Maestro. But now I've had time to simmer and think about this a lot. I have repeated the same statement. This isn't a hit to PSVR 2 in the sense of this means the PSVR 2 is failing. This, like you said, it's Meta own Beat Games, if people don't know that, and their strategies are incredibly aggressive. It's either, there's no balance between it. It's like, we're going to do this, or we're going to do this, and you're going to hate it. It's kind of like there's no kind of, you're going to be okay with this. So I think there's two things, and I'm going to throw it back to you and see what you think and what your decisions, or what you think may have caused this. Personally, for me, they may be doing an internal restructuring with them now closing down Downpour and passing it over to Camouflage. They may be restructuring Beat Games in a sense, and due to that restructuring, they may be thinking, okay, the support for PSVR 2, it's not warranted. Let's step away from that. What's the point, kind of thing. I've got two other things as well. The other one that I did think of is, obviously, this has been going on for ages. They've been on PlayStation for ages. The contract between PlayStation and Meta may have ended for this title, and one of them, not necessarily Meta, Sony may not have wanted to do it either. They just may not want to renew this contract. They may not have wanted to spark up that deal again and keep it going. They may have thought, do you know what? Sales haven't been that good, even though it's top of the charts. But again, we don't know how many sell each month. Yes, it's top of the charts, but who knows? We may be seeing 50 games sell a month on PlayStation on that one game, and then the others being 4 and 6. Do you know what I mean? There's no actual official. That's the thing, we don't know. So
we don't.
It may have been due to a contract. And they're the two main things: contract and staff restructuring that came to mind. I've completely forgot the third one, so it couldn't have been that important.
Oh, it's fine.
But what do you genuinely think about this? Because the whole it's ending PSVR 2. We've all got to be worried. You don't need to be worried. If you love your PSVR 2, keep loving it. Be happy with that device. It's Andres,
so of course, thank you. Yeah, and drink that Coke well, man. It's quite hot out there. The thing is that PSVR 2, and Meta, or at least Beat Saber, it has never gone on sale, right? It has never gone on sale.
I think it was only once on PS4. Somebody said to me the other day, once, and I don't ever remember that.
And it's still, one of the most popular games in VR as a medium ever. So I think that it's quite greedy on Meta's part. It could be Sony as well, and myself, I'm glad that, because of the people that I know at, Upload VR or other people in the industry that gave more tempered explanations to what happened. That really calmed me down, because I will say this, man, I am a guy who usually looks at the glass half full, right? And I think that's probably why I'm so of PSVR 2 as well. I don't really listen, to the
No.
naysayers. But when I first heard the news, I did think like, oh shit, it's over. Like I really did feel that for a moment, right? Because I too love Beat Saber, and I've been playing that alongside Synth Riders or Smash Drums now that came out. I love rhythm games. I got like, my Rock Band guitar there as well. So the thing is that like it really hurt me. And then I read this thorough analysis that really go like, wait a minute. Meta has been saying for the past couple of years that they're trying to scale back because as everybody knows, they overspent billions and billions of dollars in VR development and AR development as well. So they're trying to recoup some of the money, or at least not lose as much. So once I realized that was where the decision came from, and it's not just because we don't like PlayStation anymore or whatever. I think that really made a little bit more sense for me. That really calmed me down because Meta, as we said, is aggressive with its cuts and also with its exclusives, right? You got Batman, you got Asgard's Wrath 2, and now Deadpool. That is never going to see the light of day on PlayStation, of course, because
Yeah,
Meta.
or PC probably. I mean, unless they
Yeah,
put it on their own app, but they're kind of ignoring the whole PC side of thing that they have as well. Their PC storefront, they don't even acknowledge it these days.
right. So when once you see the whole picture and not just the knee jerk reaction of support for PSVR 2 is over, PSVR 2 is dead. Once you go beyond that and look at the different perspectives, I think that's when you can come down and be like, it's an unfortunate business decision, of course.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, and I think it makes sense as to why everyone started panicking and the sky is falling type of situation, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whenever you talk about VR to somebody that doesn't know about VR, I can guarantee you that if they do know what the thing is, they'll turn around and go, "Oh, is that VR? That's the thing where you put on the goggles and you wave your arms while you're slicing blocks." Instantly, everyone knows what Beat Saber is because it's been in arcades, it's been on TV somewhere at one point in time. This is a game that's been very popular, and
Mm-hmm.
it is a loss. It is a huge loss because sadly, without official DLC coming to Beat Saber, sure, there's a lot of content in that game to keep you busy. But again, after this announcement, people aren't going to want to be spending money on something that's no longer being supported. Why would you want to support them if they're not going to be supporting you? It's that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the game itself does have a lot of content. So if you do already own all these DLCs, you've got a lot to play. But you've probably played all these a million times over. They're not ending support on PC, which again kind of made people go, "Oh, this is just meta, winning out the competition."
Mm.
But if they were, wouldn't they winning it out on PC? Not that it would matter because modded support on PC would be like, we don't care. Do you think we bought an official pack for the last 7 years? We don't give a shit about that. Like it's one of those things. But whereas on PlayStation, we need that support because
Yeah.
otherwise, after a couple of years, the game is pretty much, what's the point? It's like with Firewall Ultra. Why would you buy that if there's no support on it anymore? You wouldn't go out your way and spend £40 on that pile of trash because, and I say that in the meanest way, because you guys hurt me. You hurt me, really, really hurt me. I'll never forgive you. Although I don't need to. Your studio went sadly, which I, let's not get into that because passionate. Again, we're passionate. We're passionate, aggressive people. I'm not aggressive, but I'm passionate. Because you hurt me. But no, I hope.
Yeah, look, let's be sorry. Let's be let's be real for a second. My dream has already been accomplished with Beat Saber, with the Daft Punk music pack. I've always been a huge fan of. Yes, I've always been a huge fan of Daft Punk, and of course, it hurt me as well when they separated.
Yeah.
And to actually, that iconic 2007 concert, to actually play those songs and the classics as well on Beat Saber is amazing. You also got, I don't know, Kendrick Lamar or Britney Spears or whatever. I'm sure that, as somebody said, I'm going to be hurt that I can't play the second pack of Billie Eilish on PSVR 2.
Yeah, so yeah.
Which is, I mean, yes, I like Billie Eilish. I get it. But I mean, there are other options, right? Beat the Beats, as I said, synth riders. I do like synth riders as well, but I know
synth
some
riders
people.
packs are great. And I will say, if you have a B haptics, play that with Synth Riders.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking awesome.
All right. Yeah, and there it is. I mean, there's options. I think they just recently released a new rock pack
Yep, that's correct.
with I don't know, Red Hot Chili Peppers, or I think they have Queen as well, Muse. I don't know. I mean, they got a bunch of great licensed music as well. Of course, it's not the same, but it can definitely fill that hole. And there's, as I think you said it, or somebody in the ecosystem said it, that it's not the end of the world. There's other studios supporting PSVR 2, and while it is a blow, as you said, I was also quite sad when I first heard the news.
Oh yeah, same. I love Beat Saber.
It's not the end of the world. That's all
No,
I'm gonna
it's not.
say.
It's like you said in the post. This is a 7-year-old game now. Like they might even be going on to do other things, but then again, you could argue why they're not ending support elsewhere. But there's a whole lot of stuff, and this is why I didn't want to go into it on Twitter, and why I don't really want to continue talking about it here, because
Yeah.
we don't have the facts. We're just speculating here on stupid things that come to our head about a studio that we don't know how they function, because, like we said, they are incredibly aggressive. Their ways make no sense sometimes. So, with that, I think the best idea here is to let's just move on. Let's just move on.
Yes, play Synth Riders, man. Yeah, this is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
play Synth Riders. I mean, Maestro just came out. Play
Or
that.
Maestro, yes, Maestro.
And with that, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. And I'm going to jump in first just to kind of go straight into it.
Go on.
Maestro. It came out today, the day we're recording this on the Friday, and it is absolutely fantastic. I played Maestro back on the Quest ages ago when it first came out there, and instantly loved it. The way it felt with hand tracking was incredibly fun. It was incredibly immersive, and it was just overall a really fun experience. And I'm not someone who listens to classical music or orchestra type of stuff, and I don't know a lot of these things. Obviously, I've heard of the music, but I don't know the composers and things like that. This game does such a great job at making you appreciate this music that you may not even cared about. And the way it kind of does that as well is like you hear the song, you'll play the song, and you need to go, "Oh, that was pretty good." And then one thing I love about the game is to your right, you actually have like a sheet of paper, and it have the picture of the composer, how he made this music. It'll tell you a bit of information, and it makes you care about not just the game you're playing, but also the artistic value to the music. And I love it, man. I really, really love it. It's just something magical. And I mean, Jewels of Fate came out, so you get to play the Star Wars with the little lightsaber baton and Star Wars, mate. Come on.
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is awesome. Usually we'd go back and forth. Have you played Maestro yet?
I have not. I know
need
exactly
to
what it is, but I do. And when I heard that John Williams' Star Wars was gonna be added, I was like, okay, now I really need to play it. Like, of course, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I was debating between having a Star Wars shirt or this Vendetta Forever shirt, which felt more fitting because of the VR.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Star Wars, so yeah, I will play it, and I will always make time. As I create content as well, I always make time to showcase and to focus on whatever VR games that I'm playing at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely gets the stamp of approval on Cross Button VR. It's a fantastic game, and I think even when I reviewed it on my own channel from the top of my memory, I think I gave it a 9.5. And that was only because it needs better resolution, and there is some anti-aliasing in some places. But other than that, you don't really pay attention to that much, just simply because you're concentrating on kind of doing that the whole time, and you don't really go, "Oh, that looks a bit weird over there," because you're not paying attention to any of that. Yeah, truly fantastic. Go pick it up. Definitely get this one. It's great.
Yeah, agreed.
So, let me jump over to you. What have you been playing this week?
And I just said it at the beginning of the pod. Hitman World of Assassination. I picked it up when when the PSVR 2 version released. I played a couple of missions, the tutorial, very fun. And now they shadow dropped as I said, the Casino Royale mission, and like that inspired me once again to replay it, because I haven't really finished it, and there are so many missions and there are so many ways to go about it, and it's just like the 3 whole games rolled into one, right? So I am doing my best. I do feel kind of kind of like guilty, because if you haven't played the game, you can strangle people, like you just go right for the neck, and it's
It's when you
just
go up
like,
behind them and it all just the hands as
yes,
well.
yes,
Yeah.
the hands, the movement of the hands is so unnerving. It's like you're a real killer, right? I mean, which
Yeah.
of course Agent
Are
47
you?
is.
And this was his confession.
So yeah, that, I mean, again, what VR's immersion gives you is that kind of unsettling feeling, like, damn, because the people also struggle, and you can hear it in their breath and whatnot. So it's an intense game, but also very fun. You can just grab a banana and just knock someone out.
By
So
throwing it on the floor.
it's very silly sometimes too. So yeah, the sandbox element is very fun, and I'm very, very glad that they actually nailed this one, because for those who don't know the story of Hitman being ported, it was ported to Quest, and that port was not very well handled, and everybody lost faith. And now the PS Virtual version, I can easily say that it's the best of the bunch, and I'm glad that I'm playing it.
We, at the time when the Quest port came out, both myself and Alex played it, and I feel like we both struggled to talk about it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
But also trying to convey our frustration of how it played. It was. I think that was quite a turning point of, do we just be aggressive? Because there was a lot of aggression online. Again, that was another thing, and it was like one of them things. It was like,
yeah,
how do I do this and not sound too mean? And it's like, sadly, it's shits. Like it's like it's a weird one. But anyways, I'm glad they finally got it to the point where it's the perfect Hitman game.
Absolutely.
XR Games obviously went on to do Beatable that came out, which is a very cool mixed reality game. You kind of have to tap on the table along with the music. Another cool rhythm thing because it's incredibly intuitive. But, yeah, I'm glad both studios have went on to do things that made people happy. The other game I played this week, talking of Alex, I actually messaged him the other day and I went, "Hey mate, you want to play some VR?" And he's like, "Go on then." And I was incredibly excited. I haven't played VR with Alex in. I'm probably going to say the last time I played VR with him was probably about a month or two after he said I'm going to step back from the show a little bit. So we still talk pretty much every day. But it was lovely to jump into a VR game and play a game with him again. And we played badminton time.
Oh yeah.
And we had a bit of fun. The game had some issues here and there, but overall, I think we had a good laugh. The only issues we found is sometimes your racket wouldn't actually collide with the shuttlecock, so it would just fall through and then instantly make you go, "Oh, well, we had a really good back and forth going and it ruined it." But we had an absolute blast playing it online to the point where we did that and we was like, "Oh, let's see if we can try and get these trophies." And it's like, it was trying to really compete, trying to get the trophies as well. And it was just a good bit of fun. I think we played for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it was just nice to have this little bit of friendly competition again, because me and Alex used to play like Vectrix Worlds and get really competitive on that, and we used to constantly chase Mile Dyer and knock him off the leaderboard, and we'd be remaining on it because he didn't have a very steady thing. So it was nice to have that back again, and we had a really good laugh.
That's amazing.
So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, if you haven't played badminton time, it has mini games, it has AI, and also a tournament mode. But the strongest part of the game is the multiplayer. So I highly recommend, if you have a good friend to jump into and you want to play something sporty, give it a go, because it is really good fun in multiplayer. But I didn't enjoy it playing against AI. I found them to be either too easy or too hard. There was no real medium with it, so it kind of ruined the experience. And the mini games are a bit pants, if I'm honest. I didn't really enjoy them too much. But multiplayer, brilliant. So yeah, anything else you've been playing?
Not really. I mean, I already mentioned, but you reminded me of recently I played CS Mash VRS with Henry, from Upload VR, and
we love Henry.
We love Henry. Dude. Yes, yeah, he's amazing. Great editor.
Every time we see him we saw him at EGX last year, and we was like, Henry. He walked over and just started talking. Then it was just as Laurie was about to play the Roto VR. Lovely dude.
Yeah,
always got time to chat with him.
So he said, he posted on Blue Sky this one time saying, like, I want to be more active and play more active VR games. And I said, what about a round of CS Match VRS? And we were so winded. I think that about the half-hour mark, there's several mini games that you can play with the other person, and there's one where you have to hit all of the panels on the wall.
Yeah.
And we were like, I could hear his voice, and I'm sure he could hear my voice being like, God, when is this gonna end? Like it's very intense. And of course, very fun. There's a bunch of physical activity based VR games, but when you're playing with a friend and you can hear you can hear them struggling and you struggling as well, it just makes it 1,000 times funnier.
Have you? I mean, I'm pretty sure Henry has it, but if you haven't got it, get Creed and play that together.
Oh,
yeah. I remember playing it back on the PSVR 1, and I played it against a mate, and we both got off it after a round, and we just went, right, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'm going to go have a shower. Like, literally. Which doesn't sound good when you say that over the headset, because we had other people in the party shower. Obviously, we're both panting really heavily while beating each other up in a boxing game, and we just end this panting session with, right, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go have a shower. It was incredibly hilarious to the party chat to hear that, but it was just such a great workout, and I don't think I've had that kind of workout in VR since then, because we were really going at it. Like, that doesn't sound good either. Damn!
I get it.
I could cut that out, but I'm not going to.
No, don't.
But yeah, it was Creed is a great one to play if you really want a good bit of exercise.
I haven't played it, but I will give it a try.
It's really good. Just yeah. Let's stop talking about Creed now. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't played anything else, I mean, there is other stuff I played, like I said, with the B haptics and things like that. But that would take way too long to go into. I'll save that for an episode, and I'll make that the topic and really go into detail. Yeah. But anyways, I think it's a good time to end the episode. I just want to say, Andreas, thank you so much for joining us. I think joining us. I'm so used to saying joining us, like there's multiple of us here. I know Alex and Laurie are still behind the scenes. Hell, even Ben is still behind the scenes. You remember?
They're
Ben?
Here in the spirit. Yes,
exactly. So it's I appreciate it. Every time someone's jumping on each episode, it's incredibly great to chat to someone every week, and I'm absolutely really enjoying that side of it. So thank you so much for now joining and being part of Crossbutton, and this has been great. So thank you.
Yes. No, thank you for inviting me. I'm part of the Discord. This has been a really long time coming, and I just had a lot of fun today. Honestly, I did. And again, talking about our passion, our love for VR is something that I will never turn down. It's something that I really love doing, and I think that against all odds, I think that the future is bright. And I do hope to share our thoughts eventually, right? When Reach and these VR and RoboQuest and many of the other games that Flat2VR, I'm sure, are cooking, come out. I'd love to talk about that. But yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And with that, thanks again, everyone, for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could please tell your family and friends about us. If you'd like to get more involved, please do exactly what Andreas has done and join the Discord. Come chat with us, say hi, tell us what games you've been playing. I don't know, share some stupid pictures of, I don't know, whatever you want. But join the Discord, it's a good bit of fun. And again, everyone that is already there, thank you for being there. It's a great thing. It's like I said before, I really do enjoy the Discord. Anyways, I've been your host, Reese, and I've been joined by AndresPlays. Make sure to go check out all his stuff. I'll put his links in the description of where you can find him, his Twitter or his Blue Sky, wherever he likes to be more. I think you hang out on Blue Sky more these days, don't you?
Yeah.
But anyways, until then, it's goodbye.